First of all, you can see here a table in which there are different anti-cancer drugs. This is the classification. You may be asked in your SEQs about the classification of anti-cancer drugs, and it is given in your books. First of all, there is cancer cell cycle kinetics. Cancer cell cycle kinetics is very important. All of you know well from your previous knowledge in about ninth grade that every cell in your body passes through different phases. So this is important because cancer drugs, anti-cancer drugs act on these different phases of cell cycle. Cancer cell population kinetics and the cancer cell cycles are important determinants of the actions and clinical uses of anti-cancer drugs. There are certain drugs that act on a typical cycle of the cell. These are called cell cycle specific drugs, RCCS, and there are certain drugs that are not specific for a cell cycle. These are called cell cycle non-specific drugs. These drugs kill the tumor cells in both cycling and resting phases of the cell cycle. But always remember that the drugs that act on the cell cycles on that cells that are where the growth fraction is high, in such cases the drugs are most effective. If there is growth fraction is high, the drugs will be more effective. This is very important. So the drugs that are act on different phases of the cell, we can determine their clinical uses and we can determine their mechanism of action. This is a cell cycle. You can see here there is a M phase that is called mitosis. Similarly, there is a G0 phase. From the G0 phase, cells enter into the G1 phase. Then in the G1 phase, there is synthesis of cellular components needed for the DNA synthesis. From the G1 phase, cell enters into the S phase. In S phase, there is DNA synthesis and the replication of the DNA genome. From here, the cell enters into the G2 phase. In this phase, there is synthesis of cellular components for the mitosis. And from the G2 phase, cells enter into the mitosis, and you know in mitosis cells duplicate. That is, if there is two daughter cells, they will become four. The two parent cells, they will become four daughter cells. This cycle continues and the cell cycling continues. You can see here the drugs vinca alkaloids act on the M phase. Similarly, there are anti-cancer drugs that are called antimetabolites. They act on the S phase. And similarly, there are the drugs that is bleomycin. It acts on the G2 phase. So these cell cycles are important to know the mechanism of action as well as specificity of the anti-cancer drug. I mean to say that you will prescribe a drug to a type of a cancer in which it falls so that you can get maximum results. Now there is a hypothesis that is called log-kill hypothesis. Basically, this is the hypothesis in which a anti-cancer drug kills the certain population of the cancer cells. I will describe it how. For example, a 3 log kill dose. 3 log kill dose means that an effective drug that reduces the cancer cell population of 1012 cells to 109. That is about 3 cells or less. If similarly this same dose will reduce a starting population of 106 cells to 103 cells. You can see here that the killing population is the same. First dose kills 1012 to 109, that is about 3, and then 106 to 103, this is also 3. This is 3 log kill hypothesis, and it is a key principle that stems from this finding and that is applicable to hematologic malignancies, that is malignancies that occur in your blood, and it is an inverse relationship between the tumor cell number and curability. Okay, now I am going to see, you can see here, it is a picture that shows a relationship between the local hypothesis and the tumor cell numbers. You can see on y-axis there is a number of cancer cells, and on x-axis there is a time. This blue line, you can see, this is the increasing number of the cancer cells without any medication, and that leads to ultimately death. But if you start the treatment in an early phase, first of all, see the above, I will take my pointer. uh, this is the laser pointer. You can see here, if you done intervention here, you do surgery or you do treatment, if you do treatment, you can cut down the multiplication of cancer cells, but there will be increasing number and then decreasing, and ultimately it will lead to death. Now you can see here, this is the time when you start the treatment, and it will decrease the number of cancer cells, and ultimately it will cure. But if we start at the 1004 log cells, you can get a result that is very early and it is very complete. So this is a picture that depicts the relationship between the local hypothesis and the tumor cell number. Mathematical modeling data suggests that most human solid tumors do not grow in such an exponential manner, and rather that the growth fraction of the tumor decreases with the time owing to the blood supply limitations. This means to say that, otherwise, local hypothesis suggests that there is increasing number of the cells as the tumor grows. But the solid tumor does not grow with the local hypothesis, because as the tumor size increases, the blood supply decreases, because there is certain supply limitations and there are certain other factors that the tumor cells cannot grow further and further. In drug sensitive solid tumor, the response to chemotherapy depends on where the tumor is in its growth curve. Now we will discuss why resistance to anti-cancer drugs develops, and this is very important, because so you can opt the combination therapy, or you can opt other therapies to get a perfect result. So first of all, there is increased DNA repair. An increased rate of DNA repair in tumor cells can be responsible for resistance, and is particularly important for alkylating agents and cisplatin. That is, the tumor cells are repairing their DNA that is damaged by the anti-cancer drug. The tumor cells itself is repairing their DNA, so the anti-cancer drug will not act. The second mechanism is formation of trapping agents. Some tumor cells increase their production of thiol trapping agents, for example glutathione, which interact with the anti-cancer drugs that form reactive electrophilic species. This mechanism of resistance is seen with alkylating agents like bleomycin, cisplatin, and anthracyclines. Number three is changes in the target enzymes. Certain anti-cancer drugs act on certain target enzymes, but the cancer cells change these target enzymes. So the anti-cancer drugs will not find these target enzymes and cannot kill the cancer cells. For example, the target enzyme is dihydrofolate reductase. Increased synthesis of the enzymes are a mechanism of resistance of tumor cells to methotrexate, because methotrexate act on this enzyme. Number 4 is decreased activation of the prodrugs. Resistance to the purine antimetabolites like mercaptopurine, purine, and thioguanine and pyrimidine antimetabolites can result from a decrease in the activity of tumor cell enzymes needed to convert these pro-drugs to their cytotoxic metabolites. Number 5 is inactivation of the anti-cancer drugs. For example, increased activity of the enzymes that is capable of inactivating the anti-cancer drug. This is very important with purine and pyrimidine antimetabolites. Number 6 and the most important is the decreased drug accumulation. There is increased expression of normal gene, that is MDR1 gene, for a cell surface P-glycoprotein. This gene or this P-glycoprotein, this transport the drug outside of the cancer cell. So there will be no accumulation of the anti-cancer drug, and so there will be no accumulation of the drug, and there will be no treatment of the cancer. Now comes the strategies in cancer chemotherapy. There are certain cancer treatment modalities. We do primary induction chemotherapy. That is, we start with the chemotherapy. We do not go to the surgery, or we do not go to the radiations. These are the other cancer modalities, treatment modalities. But in some cases, we start with the primary induction chemotherapy. And this we done with lymphomas, acute myelogenous leukemias, or germ cell cancers, or choriocarcinomas. Okay? In this case, we want to improve the quality of life and increase time to tumor progression. Second modality is the neoadjuvant chemotherapy. In this case, use of chemotherapy in the patients who have localized cancer, for which alternative local therapy such as surgery exists, is known as neoadjuvant chemotherapy. And we do this to reduce the size of the tumor so that we can do surgical reaction in a more feasible way. Number 3 modality is the adjuvant chemotherapy. In the treatment of many solid tumors, chemotherapy serves as important adjuvant to local treatments such as surgery or the radiation. Now is the principles of combination therapy. Chemotherapy with combination of anti-cancer drugs usually increases the log kill. I have told you what is log kill hypothesis. If we use more than one combinations of drugs, we can have synergistic effects, we can increase the log kill. So these are designed, or these can be chosen depending upon the type of the cancer. First one is that each drug should be active when they used alone against the particular cancer. Number 2, the drugs should have different mechanisms of action. Number 3, cross resistance between the drugs should be minimal. And the number 4, drugs have different toxic effects. These 4 are the key points when you are deciding to use a combination. Now is the rescue therapy. Rescue therapy means that you can alleviate the certain toxic effects of the anti-cancer drugs to some extent by using certain other drugs. For example, methotrexate is an anti-cancer drug. High doses may be given for 36 to 48 hours and terminated before severe toxicity occurs to the cells of gastrointestinal tract and the bone marrow. In this case, we use leucovorin. Leucovorin is a form of tetrahydrofolate that is accumulated more readily by the normal than by neoplastic cells, and it is then administered. This results in rescue of normal cells because leucovorin bypass the dihydrofolate reductase step in folic acid synthesis. So if you are asked what is leucovorin rescue therapy, you will tell that it is used in case of anti-cancer drug, that is methotrexate. How it causes rescue, you will elaborate this mechanism. Okay, how leucovorin rescue the toxic effect of methotrexate. Second one is the Mensa therapy. Mensa traps the acrolein that is released from the cyclophosphamide. That is, Mensa is used for the cyclophosphamide toxicity. It traps the acrolein. This acrolein basically causes hemorrhagic cystitis, and if we use Mensa, then we can reduce the incidence of hemorrhagic cystitis. Similarly, dextrazoxane. Dextrazoxane is a drug that is we use in the toxicity of doxorubicin. What it does, it inhibits the free radical formation and affords protection against the cardiac toxicity, because anthracycline causes cardiac toxicity. For this rescue, we use dexrazoxane. So if you are asked about the rescue therapy, you can give examples of methotrexate, in which we use leucovorin. You can give example of cyclophosphamide, in which we use Mensa. Similarly, you can give example of doxorubicin, which in this case we use dexrazoxane. Next of the anti-cancer drugs we will discuss tomorrow in our next lecture. Thank you very much.